Hi, and welcome to the 7 Rings of Marriage Bible Study. We're the BLEDSOEs. I'm Jackie.
And I'm STEPHANA.
We are just so excited that you've decided to join us for this 8-session study going through each individual rings. The 7 rings of marriage are a metaphor for the seasons that we all go through in our marriages. Actually, it's the seasons that successful, lasting, and fulfilling marriages go through. So we want to introduce you to them and see what God's Word has to say no matter what season, what ring you're currently wearing. We're betting that right now, as we go through them, you will identify with at least one, but all of them apply throughout our marriages. So I'm going to let STEPHANA introduce you to the 7 rings of marriage.
So ring number 1 is the engagement ring. And at that point, you are excited. Your significant other is perfect. There's nothing they do wrong. You're just super excited about looking into the future of your marriage together.
Yeah, she said was perfect, like a past tense, but I thought we were still were. No, the engagement ring is all about the foundation of your marriage. When we were married, we had no foundation. We just didn't know what we needed to do to set a foundation or that we even needed one. Then we were introduced to a couple who really poured into us, taught us what God's Word said about marriage, and we began to pour a foundation that would last for our lifetime, and now we're able to pour and share with you.
Ring number 2 is the wedding ring, and at that point you make the commitment. You say, I do, and you are excited. Things are still new and fresh, and it's all about the commitment of being together forever.
Yes, and that commitment is in all areas, not just one area. So God's Word teaches us that we are to become one in marriage, and that's what the wedding ring is about. You're coming together as one, and we're going to practically see what God's Word has to say about that and how you can do it in your marriage so you can continue going and you can remain one throughout the length of your marriage.
And the third ring is the discovering. At this point, you realize some things about your spouse that are not so perfect, like maybe the socks just don't ever make it into the laundry basket.
Yeah, then you learn that, okay, my spouse used to be timely, but all of a sudden they're not timely anymore since we've been married. But no, in all seriousness, you learn as much about yourself and how you relate to your spouse as you do about them, and that's what's crucial. So the discovering is where we learn more about each other, more about God, what God says about our relationship, and ultimately we want to create the habit of being lifelong learners of our spouse so we can practice that throughout our marriage.
And ring number 4 is the persevering. So in the discovering, you may have uncovered some things that are really difficult, not just the socks or the toothpaste, but really serious and really challenging. And so in the 4th ring, you persevere through. You decide that we are going to make it, even though this is difficult, even though this is ugly, we're going to stay together.
Yeah, that's where they say marriage is hard. Yes, marriage is hard. But God shows us how that we can persevere in our marriages, and that we can remain true to the commitment to one another and to Him, and ultimately grow closer through that. Those are the good things. When you work hard, you get good results. So we're going to look at that perspective and what God has to say about it.
The 5th ring is the restoring. And so some of those things, some of those pieces in your marriage may become broken. You are now trying to put back the pieces.
Yes, brokenness happens in our marriages. We all mess up. I do things that hurt her. She does things that hurts me. You and your spouse do as well. But now we're going to talk about restoring those broken pieces and ultimately forgiving our spouse. God's Word is about forgiveness in our marriages as well. So we want to show you that in the restoring.
And ring number 6 is prospering. So at this point, you have reached where you thought you wanted to be when you said, I do. Things are good. Things are not perfect all the time, but you have a different perspective. You now have gone through some challenges in your marriage, and you have decided that we're going to make it. And so you have a different perspective when you face challenges.
Yes, you've been through a lot. You know you can make it through the next challenge as well. Everything's not perfect, but your perspective is so different that you can choose joy throughout it all.
And then the 7th ring is the mentoring. At this point in your relationship, you are realizing that you've been commissioned not just to focus on your own marriage, your own spouse, but you are supposed to give back, to pour back into other marriages.
Yes, our marriages are bigger than just us. God has called us to share what we've learned in marriage to help other couples, but ultimately to share the good news of Jesus Christ in using our marriages as that tool. So we're excited that you joined us for the 7 Rings of Marriage Bible Study. It's going to be a great 8-session study, and ultimately we think that no matter what season of marriage you are in, you're going to get the practical wisdom you need to have that lasting and fulfilling marriage.